Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today. We are going to be planting our first seeds of the year. Just a little bit of background, if you are new here to my channel, maybe you haven't watched any of my videos or haven't seen any of my ones from the previous growing seasons. I started my first flower garden in spring of 2024. I just had one raised bed and I planted zinnias and cosmos and they were so beautiful. And then last year I ended up adding 3 raised beds to that and 2 arch trellises and grew a bunch of flowers. I also grew some vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and oregano, wildflowers, and just all sorts of things. And it was so fun and I just have loved it. And so this year we're doing the same thing again. Well, I'm not going to plant the same exact stuff, but we're going to plant in the 4 beds that I already have. I don't think we're going to add any this year. Today is the middle of January. It's January 16th and I am in garden zone 8A, which is the upstate of South Carolina. And so I'm going to sow some poppies today. So that's what we're going to be planting. I got these seeds from Amazon. They had really great reviews. So we're going to be sowing these. So it's interesting because the back of this says poppy is easily established directly outdoors when the weather is mildly cool. And then it says temperatures of 65 to 70 degrees are optimal. However, I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos in preparation for planting these, and the videos that I've seen have said, so last year I did this thing called cold stratification, which is where you basically put your seeds in the fridge, or I put them in Ziploc bags. Inside of those was damp paper towels, but just barely damp because we're not trying to germinate them. We were just trying to basically trick them into thinking that they've gone through a hard frost basically. And so I'm not going to do that this year. We're just going to plant them directly into the ground because last year I was a little late on the early ones that I wanted to plant, and the cold stratification didn't work super well for me. So this year I thought, I'm just going to get an early start to this. Honestly, I might even be a little late planting these because one video I was watching, she was saying plant I think she said between Black Friday and New Year's. So I'm a couple weeks late, but we're going to try our hand at these. So I haven't done anything in my garden beds since last year's growing season, since we had our first frost and it all died. So I need to go out there and clear out one of the beds. We are going to head to Lowe's to buy a bag of compost, and I'm going to use that to amend my soil, just mix in and make sure they have plenty of nutrients to start out. And then we're going to sow our poppies, and I of course will keep you guys updated. I'll be posting all sorts of garden diaries videos throughout the springtime and the summer and the whole growing season here in South Carolina. So I'm super excited, and let's go ahead and head to Lowe's. So here's my Lowe's haul. I got this. I just have been needing one of these for my lemon tree because it's too cold here for my lemon tree to survive outside. So I brought it in for the winter, and I just haven't had a big enough saucer. This was like $1 or something. And then they had these pots on sale, which they're kind of dirty, so I'll have to clean them, but they were so cheap. This big one was, I forgot, $4 or $3, $3.92. And then these small ones were like $1 or something. And I mean, I love these colors. I have a big pot that my Monstera is in. That is this yellow color. And then I actually have this size. Actually, they're smaller. The smallest size of the blue one. And I just always need more pots. I got a cow manure, which is what I'm going to use as compost for outside. And then I also have been saving my coffee grounds. I was saving them last year, and then I would add them to my garden whenever the box would fill up. But now we've just been saving them since the last frost, so it's probably been 4 months or so. And so I have a big Amazon box of coffee grounds, so I'm gonna take some of those and mix that in as well. I'm gonna put my hair up and get my new garden apron that I have, and then we'll go outside and start planting. So I just wanted to show, I have this cute little garden apron that I got for Christmas. It is just adorable, and it is so handy for having pockets for everything. It is cold today. Thankfully it is sunny though, so that's good. But I had this bed last year. I had cosmos in it, and so a lot of these still have seeds on them. I'm gonna go grab my garden shears, and then we will get to clearing out this bed and then adding in the compost, and I'm gonna grab the coffee grounds too. So I'm basically just going to rip everything out, and then we're going to amend our soil, and I'll show you guys the process. Don't mind the camera shadows, I have to get my content. Now I'm just gonna take my rake and rake over the soil because there's still a few roots down in there. So I just want to break those up best I can before I mix in the manure and the coffee grounds. It's also frosted. It's kind of frozen down in there. And honestly, it's probably good because I was seeing how people were saying to plant these on top of snow, but we don't really get snow here. It will probably be good for the poppies to be in a frosty environment. This is the compost I'm going to use. I used this last year in my vegetable bed. It's pretty expensive compared to the cheaper brands when you're filling a raised bed, but since thankfully all my beds are filled, I only have to use it to amend the soil. But if you are filling your beds, you can definitely just use a mixture of compost and topsoil like cheaper, and then maybe add a couple bags of the better quality stuff on top. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be using today. And then here are my coffee grounds too. Now that that's all mixed in, I'm going to just pre-soak the soil. I'm only going to do a light amount of water because since it is pretty cold here today and the next couple days, I don't want them to have too much water that's not like drying up and soaking up. So I just don't want the soil to be hydrophobic. So we are going to be proactive and go ahead and just pre-water it and then sprinkle the poppy seeds on top. So I'm going to mix in my poppy seeds with this soil from one of my other raised beds because I don't want all of the poppy seeds, which there are 100,000 in this. I'm not going to plant all of them, probably half. I don't want all of them to just fall in one spot. This will help them to get more evenly distributed throughout the bed. And poppy seeds need light to germinate, so we're just going to gently put them on the top of the bed and then just leave them. So I'm mixing them in right now, and then we're just going to evenly spread them on the soil. And now I'm just gonna leave it and hope for the best. They should germinate in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but we shall see. I've never grown poppies here in South Carolina before, so like people can say that anything's easy. Growing poppies is easy, growing zinnias is easy, but you just have to learn your garden zone, and I feel like it can be discouraging because I've had a lot of learning experiences of things that people said were going to be easy, but then they weren't, just because I didn't know the growing season here. I didn't know what it was like to grow those specific plants. So I will definitely be giving you guys updates. That's why I didn't plant all of them. I only planted about half the seeds because I wanted to save some. If I do start to see sprouts in these, I might plant some more a little later to have blooms for longer. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe so you can follow along for all of my garden updates. I've been looking for some ranunculus corms to plant, but I've not found them yet, and Lowe's did have their seeds out earlier, which they didn't last week when I was there, so that was exciting, but I did not see ranunculus corms. So hopefully I'm going to get those soon and get those planted in the ground, because I would love to grow ranunculus, but we'll see, because it might be too late by the time that I get those in. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!